Hello, everyone. Welcome to Schizophrenic. My name's Beth, and we're here to interview Chris on his journey with addiction and, talk about what life is like being sober. Hi, Chris. How you doing?
I'm not too bad, Beth. I'm usually on the other side asking the questions, but yeah, it's a bit weird. But thank you for doing this. I'm looking forward to this interrogation. No, joking, interview. It's going to be good.
Thank you for
Thank
taking the time to answer some questions. I think it's going to be really helpful, for a lot of people hearing about your story. What I really wanted to start off with asking was what it was like growing up for you. How was it growing up as a child for you, Chris?
Growing up was it was from one extreme to another. If I'm being completely honest, my mum done a great job. Like she was bringing us up. Me, my two younger siblings, and my older siblings, and we grew up on an estate in Hackney. She done her best. I was, to be honest with you, my behaviour was awful as a kid.
Mm,
Really, my behaviour was really terrible. I was, but I don't know if there's a lot of stuff with ADHD, autism, whatever, and that wasn't a thing. I'm not being funny. That wasn't a thing when I was in the 80s, 90s. Like no one, you're just a little shit basically. So whether I had any of that, I don't know. It is what it is. But yeah, growing up was all right. I was unruly. My mum had to put up with a lot of stuff, and I moved out when I was 15, and then I was left to my own devices.
yeah, and actually that leads me on to my next question was when was it you started using drugs or drinking and kind of getting into, like, was it an escape, do you feel?
I think that was a part of it as well. I think I had that addictive nature, that addictive mindset at a very early age, like I've spoken about before, with sweets and just the addiction. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. Like, so I was a cracking kid with sweets, and I used to walk around the estate and pick up spliff butts off the floor. I was like not well, and that was at 8, 9. So my first experience of actually drinking drugs was about the age of 9 when I got sort of smashed. And then any normal kid would say, you know what, that made me feel really violently ill. I'm not going to do that again. And I couldn't wait to do it again. Not normal. So I think I had that disposition at that young age
Yeah.
moving forward. I didn't know then what I know now, obviously, but yeah, I really started when I was 15, when I left home and went into a care place. I was left to my own devices. I used to go to school, iron my own uniform, get ready, and just get on with it. At 15, and
That's so
my
young as well, isn't it? So young.
my family done their best, but it was up to me.
Mm,
I wanted to have my independence. I thought it was a good thing, but in hindsight, I done too much. Too young. What an adult, what a child, sorry, shouldn't have done. I was not
mm.
like an adult. As a teen, as a youngster, and I shouldn't have been doing that, but it was my choice to do it, and then it's I don't think you could get away with it now. In this day and age, what I went through, living in the shared house when I was 15, going to school, just getting on with it. I had my first house when I was 17 from the housing association, and then I just moved from flat to house to hostel, and then it was just got
Yeah.
progressively worse, really, and that was the start of it all.
So at what point do you think things started to get really unmanageable, like really out of control for you? At what point?
I had some serious problems when I got evicted from my first flat when I was 17. I had some problem with some yardies. It was a serious situation.
Mm,
I was away a weekend. I had someone staying at my house. I don't know what they done. I don't know if they used my name, but I came back and all my neighbours told me. I come back, my house was ransacked. So all my neighbours told me, look, there was about
wow.
3 or 4 cars full of yardies. They kicked off your door, went in the house. They got an ounce of weed from under the sink. They were looking for me, saying my name, and I couldn't go back. I left immediately because obviously my life was in serious danger. I had to move
Mm,
from Walthamstow to a YMCA, and from that moment onwards, my life was over. I was distraught. I was a mess. It went downhill very fast from that moment. The psychological effects caused by the worry and the paranoia and panic from all of that, it set off a life event of worry and stress. And from that moment onwards, my life just went downhill, and then I just couldn't stop using and drinking after that, and then it just spiraled out of control.
Yeah, and it sounds really difficult, and probably for those around you as well, because addiction affects not only us, doesn't it, but also everyone around us. So I was going to ask, like, how do you feel like it has affected not only your mental health, but also the mental health of those around you who are watching and witnessing this?
That's a great question, and I didn't care, if I'm being honest, and I know that might sound really awful. I really could less about anybody, because this addiction is a selfish, insidious disease that will wipe everything out. I did not care. As long as I got what I wanted to get, I didn't care about anyone or anyone else's. I destroyed many lives, probably emotionally and mentally. And I didn't have no regard for anybody else apart from myself. Addiction is a selfish thing. Now when I look back, I feel, what my family had to go through.
Yeah.
Certain people I used to tap up and get money off them and spin them a line and destroy, taking money off them and their families. The crime I used to do as well, the impacts it had on the community, committing crime, choring, stealing out of shops, nicking, and I'd done some awful things in my addiction, awful things. I can't really go into too much detail. I don't want to incriminate myself, but there's one thing I can't speak. Can I speak about it? Yeah, I'm just trying to think, because one of the incidences which I really felt really guilty about is robbing a church on a Sunday morning. Like at a live congregation, I just run in and we took the money bags off the altar and run out, and then we had all the congregation running after us.
Wow.
And I remember running through Hackney, through a park, jumped on the bus. I had to give one of the bags back. I was with someone else. I didn't do it alone. I can't mention who I was with, obviously.
Yeah, let's not do that.
And not a grass, all right? No, but and then I jumped on the bus up to Whips Cross, and I was like, I just can't believe what I just did, because I planned it. I planned it all. I planned it all, and one of them things. That was one of the things that I look back and think, that was a really fucked up situation. But you know what? Desperate times causes desperate measures. I was desperate.
Absolutely, yeah.
I didn't have, and I'll speak a bit later on about that, the solution to all of that, what happened with that, and because there was a happy ending with that scenario.
Because also I think it's really important that, and I think it's really brave to be able to sit and share some of this stuff and get really honest, because I think that's a massive part, isn't it, of recovery as well. And thank you for sharing that as well, Chris.
No, nothing's off the table, nothing off limits here. I'm open. I will, without incriminating myself or others, I will tell you absolutely anything, because I'll keep it real. This is real. I'm not going to put a filter things or censor things or try and minimize or be sickly positive. No, you know me, Beth. I don't work like that. I say exactly how it is, and because I think it's important to say that. Not for me, for others as well, because they go, wow,
And people don't need to hear, people don't need to hear, oh yeah, that they need to hear the realness, the rawness of addiction, don't they? And where it takes us. And I think that's very important for everyone who's struggling to be watching that as well. So when was it you feel like you realized that you didn't, when was it you kind of thought, I don't want to live like this anymore, I want a better way of life? Can you remember that?
I remember absolutely. I remember there was a point where there was a trigger point. I hate that word trigger. It really annoys me, but I really hate the word trigger, but I'm using that for lack of a better word. Okay. So I remember I was living in a house with effectively 3 smack kids, and it was the worst 2 years of my life. From the year, I think it was from 2006 to 2008, when I was, that's when I left Hackney in 2007, 2008. And then at that point, I was like, do you know what? I can't do this anymore. So I moved out of Hackney. I moved out of Hackney and I moved to Essex. And then I joined my friends' football projects, community projects. And that was the start of me moving forward. I just had enough. I had my son, little Chris. I had him, and I remember when he was born, I thought, you know what, I can't carry on with this. So I stopped all the Class A drugs in 2009, 2008, 2009 when he was born, and I never touched it again after that. But I still was, and this is delusion. I thought I was all right because I wasn't smoking crack, because I wasn't getting sniffed up. Yeah. And I was just smoking weed and drinking. I thought, wow, I've done it. I made it. I made it, Ma. Right?
Everything's all right now. I've sorted it. I'm fine.
Yeah. I'm not an addict anymore. Yeah. And you know what? It was the weed and the booze. It wasn't the crack what brought me to my knees. It wasn't
interesting, isn't it, as well?
Because I stopped the Class A drugs in 2009. I came into recovery in 2012. So the booze and the weed brought me down. And you know what? Out of everything I stopped, the most difficult thing to stop was weed, ironically.
And a lot of people watching will probably think, like, what? This guy was smoking crack.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? And it goes to show it's not about the substance, you know?
I just stopped crack just like that. Just like that. And I don't know to this day how I just knocked it on the head. I think it was the because we just swapped one substance for another. It's not like,
definitely.
I did anything, I stopped drugs. It was a situation and this necessity for me. It was an inconvenience for me to carry on doing that because I had my first child born. So I literally could not, me personally, carry on doing Class A drugs. My son's come along. I thought I couldn't do it because I was brought up with morals and principles, twisted ones.
Yeah, of course.
But principles and morals are the same. Yeah. So, but I'm not going to go too much into that. But yeah, so I thought, look, I've had enough. Can't keep on doing it. Yeah, and then when it come to the end of my addiction, I was like, I needed a home detox, mate. I needed to be on Librium because I had the shakes. I was like, if I stopped drinking it would have been dangerous for me just to stop because I would have probably fitted and died. I was in a mess. I didn't realise what alcohol does to the body, and I was drinking from day one. I love booze. I was an alcoholic. Let's get that right. I'm not going to minimise it. I was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
You know, and look, when it comes to the end, and when I did stop, or when I made the decision to say, do you know what, I've had enough, it wasn't my lowest. I had much more lows than that, but I had enough. And I remember when I stopped drinking, I had a home detox, and it was the last day. It was the 11th of November 2012, and I had 4 cans. I drank 2, and I thought, you know what, I feel ill. I don't even want the other 2, and I poured the other 2 cans down the sink. And I've never had a drink since that day, or any substance, mind-altering substance, from that day. And I woke up on the 12th of the 11th, 2012, my first sober day, and I've never touched a drop or a drink or a drug or anything since that day.
And that's just incredible. That's just incredible, isn't it? Like to have that amount of sobriety as well. And I know people say, you know, it doesn't matter how much sobriety you have, it does matter. It matters, you know. And I know that I've seen that you put the work in as well, you know.
You know, it matters about, you know, it's not the time, it's what you do in that time what counts.
It's what you do in the time, absolutely.
You can be like 20 years, 30 years, but you know what, at the end of the day, if I'm not doing anything each day to strengthen and to help others, or to try and keep on making improvements, what does that 10, 11 years mean to me? It means nothing to me, because it's just
about the work that you put in, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely.
You know, just me being clean and sober and walking around with a, oh yeah, I'm a decade. That's not my identity either. I want to just make this pretty clear. And we've spoke about it in length as well, Beth. You know, my identity is not just Chris, the addict in recovery, 10 years, 11 years clean. No, that's not, you know, there's more to life than that. I don't just want to be Chris the addict. Do you know what I mean? And we'll speak more about the stuff I do moving forward for the community and stuff. But yeah, you know, it enables me to do the things I do with clarity of mind, you know, and we spoke about it the other day. All we want to get to, I'm sure, you know, I can say this because I'm sure the majority in recovery would agree with me. We need to have peace of mind. You know, the best gift we can have is peace of mind, clean and sober, nothing more, nothing. And if we can get that, you know, not all the time, because it's impossible, of course, because we have to live life and we have to, you know, go through life challenges. But if we can come to a place of peace and ease within ourselves, then that is living the dream.
Absolutely. Life beyond your wildest dreams, right?
Yeah. Slogans.
We're bringing them out.
Slogans. Don't get me started. I might offend some people.
I mean, yeah, and we're not here to do that, remember? We're not here to do that. But if you are, then that's not a problem as well.
I ain't got the power to offend anyone anyway. They offend themselves.
That's up to them.
Anyway.
It's true. So, well, actually, you have answered this question partly, but, you know, I was going to ask what your well-being and your mental health is like now that you are sober, you know, how much better it is, and what is life like without drink and drugs?
Listen, my mental health is to the top of the range, to be honest with you. And listen, let me put this into context. When I was 18, I had a nervous breakdown. I ended up on the psychiatric unit and I was locked on a locked ward for nearly a year. I didn't know who my mum was. They heavily medicated me. I was in a padded cell, getting liquid kosh injections in the arse, all sorts, dribbling, walking around with the lateral shuffle. Didn't know who I was, who everyone was, dribbling, pissing the bed, right? So let's put things into context. I was absolutely a right state through psychosis because of what I did to myself, right? And then I was involved with a certain firm, let's just say that, and there were heavies and I got involved with the wrong people and it was absolutely a disaster. This is after the RDs, by the way. So yeah, because of that, I had an absolute meltdown. I tried to commit suicide. You know, I was 18. So the reason why I'm saying this, because I'm speaking about context. So, you know, moving forward from that, you know, I had to go through a lot of stuff. You know, I had to go, they put a lot of labels on me, which there's no labels on me now because on my medical records it's all clear. Because when I got sober, I had an assessment and I said, look, I've got all this on my record. And I had an assessment by a psychiatrist and he said, Chris, there's nothing wrong with you, mate. Basically, he said, I'm removing all of this. This doesn't apply to you. And that's a miracle. My mental health now, clean and sober.
That is amazing.
Listen, I had a lot of panic attacks when I was using and drinking. I couldn't get on the train, get off the train, off the bus. There was too many people. Didn't like big crowds. I couldn't cope. Do you know what I mean? I was dizzy all the time. I've not had one panic attack, literally. Except for health-wise, sometimes I have a little, but that's different. But I'm talking about anxiety and mental health.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
I've had no panic attacks or mental issues in the last 10 years because I'm clean and sober. So, you know, people who say, oh, I'm depressed, or I'm anxiety, mate, get off the packet, mate. Get off the packet. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's it, isn't it? A lot of people, they won't give sobriety a chance, so they don't know how different they feel without the drink and the drugs.
Exactly. So, and they want listen, I work for a mental health charity, right? So I'm not minimizing mental health, believe me. I work in mental health. Yes. So don't get it twisted what I'm saying. But I see it all the time. Oh, I feel down, I feel depressed. Mate, you've just been on a bender where you want to come down.
You haven't slept in 3 days. Like.
I know. You're wired. You're like, you know what I mean? And you're come on. And I think it's disrespectful for the people who do suffer. Tangible mental health. You know, so you've just got off the packet, 3-day bender. Yeah. And now you want to bank with mum and dad. Mum, I'm in trouble. Can you help me? Can you put me in rehab? Like, fuck off, mate. I'm sorry. Like, anyway, don't get me started on that. Otherwise, I will start offending people. But yeah, my mental health is really good. And I'm absolutely fine. Not fucked up, insecure, neurotic, and egotistical, but I'm fine.
That's brilliant. And I will move on to the next question.
Yeah, sorry. Got a bit excited there, didn't I?
No, it's great though. You know, we've got to be honest at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And really, I wanted to ask about your vision for the future. You know, moving forward as well. Like what you said about doing work in the community, making positive changes. I'd love to know a bit more about that.
Absolutely. Before I go on to that, I just want to quickly touch on my health and consequences of, the life I've led in the past. Like, I've lived a sort of, I would say, a wild lifestyle. Let's just say that, yeah. And at the end of the day, there's consequences to my using. I think it's a combination of many things, not just my using, because I know people who've smoked crack longer than me and they don't have like the condition I have. So, because where I was born, I was premature and my lungs wasn't developed. So I think there's a lot of things. So basically, I've got chronic emphysema of my lungs and that, and I've got 5 valves in my left lung. And in a couple of weeks, I'm going for lobectomy, which is they're removing half of my left lung to create space for me to breathe. That's why when you see my videos, sometimes you think, oh, what's the matter with him? Well, that's why. Yeah, moving on from that. So yeah, in the future, I think the future's bright. Once I recover from that, which I will, I'm sure, effectively. I do a lot of stuff in the community. I do work with mental health clients, ex-military suffer from PTSD, and also I've recently set up with a friend of mine, Kelvin, a youth sports project in the community.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah,
for football. I was connected to football years ago, and what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to establish and ingratiate ourselves within the community. So we've got an under-12s team at the minute, Focus United Youth Community Project, and what we're aiming to do for the future is to set up many teams, a girls team, a disability team, marginalized people, to help with people with this cost of living crisis, trying to help with, we're going to try and liaise with probation so we can help with the criminal justice system with youngsters like in gangs or knife crime, try and get them off the street and to get fit and play football, help with education, and signpost to other agencies for a wraparound overall support for these individuals who need it. So that's the vision for the future, and I'm very excited about it. And it's a wonderful thing, that we can do to give back to the community, because I've terrorized my community before in the past, and it's great to be able to have the all clear, like DBS checks, child safety.
It's fantastic, isn't it?
Child safety, where I'm a child safety welfare officer, for Christ's sake, you know what I mean, for the FA, for my club. So it's ironic, and it's a wonderful thing,
It's mind blowing when you look at how that transition from like where you came from to now, like it's inspirational.
Absolutely, and it's all about the next generation. It's all about try and nurture, try and install some. I didn't have a father figure growing up. I didn't have a father figure growing up. I didn't have a role model like someone to, do you know what I mean? Maybe if I did have that, who knows? But, that's why I want to give back, because it is about the next generation. It is about the youngsters, and they're the lifeblood of life and my football club. So we want to, just help them more than football with their attitude, their behaviour, and inspire them to do better and to do good in life, to try and really help. And that's what I use the team for, team bonding exercises, have a good attitude, support each other. So they're getting that mindset of supporting others and showing empathy to one another rather than being selfish, like I was. So yeah, it's a wonderful thing. It's not just me doing it, it's my friend Kelvin, and we're doing it together, and the parents. It's fantastic, and it's going to be a massive project, I'm sure.
And it's a ripple effect, isn't it? Like it's a ripple effect as to like it can, like we affect people negatively when we're in addiction, and then like look everything you're doing now, and it's it's a ripple effect onto the next generation, like you say, making such positive changes. It starts within the community, doing what you can, doesn't it?
Yeah,
and so what advice would you give to anyone who's really struggling right now, who is in the depths of this, you know?
I can relate, and whether you take it or not. What I can say is, if you're struggling and you're in the grips of it, I know what it's like. I've been there. You can't see no way out. So, possibly, it don't matter what I'll say, and it don't. I've helped many men over the years, many. So I've got a vast experience with emotions and self-pity and people who relapse. And I came in. Relapse is not part of my story. I've never relapsed. I've stayed clean from day one, and that's just my story. So I wouldn't know, but I've experienced many people relapse and come back, and many relapse who don't come back and die and commit suicide. So what advice I would give to someone, speak out, get honest. Get honest with yourself, and no matter how dark it may seem, there's always a flicker of light. There's always just reach out, even if it's to your mum, to your cousin, to your nan, whoever, just share it. Just say, I'm fucked and I need help. I can't stop doing it. I can't stop drinking. My life is a mess. You know what I mean? I have people say, oh, I'm at work and all that. And I advocate, tell your boss at work, they will support you. They will. The scary, oh, I can't do that. Or you think, oh, if I say something, they're going to take my kids away. They're not going to take your kids away.
It's a fear-based illness, isn't it? So it's so much fear.
Absolutely. And that's an excuse to keep on using. Oh, I can't say they're going to take my kids away, but you're smoking crack or you're doing coke or you're drinking. You've got more chance of your kids getting taken away from you doing what you're doing than not doing it. You see what I mean? You see how it goes? It's centered in the mind. Our mind comes up with some fun. But look, if you're struggling, try and get some help. Get online. Google's your best friend. Get on there. You'll Google it if you think you've got something wrong with you. You'll be oh, what's wrong with me because I'm not gonna die. Like on Google, you'll check if you have blood coming out your bum, wouldn't you? Just get some help. That's what I'm saying.
So basically, get some help, reach out, talk to someone, get honest. Because you Google it if you have blood coming out your bum. That's it,
Exactly.
That's it.
I would. Why is blood? Anyway, we'll move from that.
So I mean, it sounds like you completely turned things around, Chris. And
can I just say with the church? Sorry, Beth. Can I just say with the church? If I end the video without saying this, I would really. When I robbed the church on a Sunday morning, I went to make the amends to the church and listen to this story. And this is a true story, every word of it. I went into the church. I spoke to the priest. I said, look, I need to speak to you about something. He said, all right, we'll speak. We went into the side room where they sell all the rosary beads and all that business. And it was fine. He said, all right. Anyway, church service, bosh, whatever. And then I went in afterwards, the same room I was in. And I said, listen. And when we walked in, the ceiling fell in and it was dripping. It was wet. And I said, I robbed the church and I want to make an amends. How can I repay you? And the priest just looked up to the ceiling like that. And he looked at me. And I was like, wow, God's got a sense of humor, isn't he? And I paid to get it fixed. Because that money I stole, I give like 3 times back to fix that leak on the ceiling in the presbytery room. So, it was crazy. I was in that room before the service. It was absolutely fine. When we went back in there after the service, it collapsed. And I went to make an financial amends. So I pay. It's like you can't make it up, and that's a true
There's no such thing as coincidences, is there?
No,
not when you know.
Yeah. So that was powerful stuff. So that's what it's all about. It's about giving back today, and trying to right the wrongs. But some wrongs you just can't right, and I understand that. Some of the things I've did in the past. The best thing I can do is stay sober and clean because the world is a safer place, me being sober, believe me.
I'm really grateful that you've come on and taken the time to answer these questions. I know I said that, but I think it's really important. Like, there's so many people still struggling, and I mean, I think we have covered everything. So it was lovely to connect with you, Chris.
It's fantastic interview, and I really appreciate giving you the time to do this as well. It's been fantastic. So, yeah, thank you very much, Beth. Really appreciate it. Stay there, yeah?
Yeah.
Stay